Vigil Honor member. This is so cool. They had Vigil Honor neckerchiefs. Man, golly, just beautiful, beautiful. I mean, if I, it's almost tempting for me as a collector to be like, I could start a Lodge 266 collection since I have a great head start here. Hi, Jason Spengler, the SanteeSwapper. Man, I've got a collection that is so big that I actually contemplated driving into another time zone to pick it up. And that is just the beginning of the story, actually. So what was going to happen, there was a gentleman who passed away. He was a scouter out in Utah, and his best friend in scouting agreed to help the widow find a new home for the scouting memorabilia and get some money for the family. So he reached out to me, and we talked back and forth over several weeks, maybe even several months. And at one time, this guy himself was going to retire, and he was going to possibly move to Tennessee, which is a lot closer to me in North Carolina than Utah. And so we talked about perhaps when he moved in the spring to meet up, and I would buy the collection in person. He would hand it off to me. However, you know how these plans go. Lots of things pop up. And so his potential plans did not come to pass. And so we talked about how he could ship the items to me. So what you'll see today is in the boxes, there's two really heavy boxes. This is a massive collection. Again, I was going to go drive to get it. What he did was he took them out of the 3-ring binders so that they would fit. So the two boxes are very, very heavy, but it's full of scouting memorabilia from out in Utah. And there's some really beautiful patches here. Order the Arrow patches. You guys will know that some of those lodges out there really spend a lot of effort and time in making their patches very beautiful. And unfortunately, all of those lodges have now merged together and no longer exist. Doesn't necessarily make the patches worth more. In fact, when it comes to Utah, it really hurts because the Mormon Church left in I think it was 2019, and so we lost about 300,000 scouts in our program when the Mormons pulled out to create their own program. And so scouting in Utah just kind of collapsed into one council, kind of like I don't know, like whatever was left, they cobbled it together. And so, anyways, all that to say, it's a really interesting collection for me. I'm glad to help the family get this stuff back into scouting. Obviously, the widow who is dealing with lots of issues, she didn't, have anything to do with all of this scouting memorabilia. And so I was really happy that this friend of mine, I'll call him a friend because we've worked together now on this for many, many months, have come to an agreement, and he mailed me the items. So it's a terrific collection. I can't wait to show it to you. I'm going to open the boxes up and get them under the small camera so we really can spend some time going through it and appreciating the history. All right, guys, you're going to be in for such a treat. There's really some beautiful patches made by these councils and in this collection. So I'll start off here just with the first one. You can see what the guy did was he simply took these pages out of the binder and then sent them to me all together. So again, what I usually see is collectors, when they're putting together binder pages, they're going to make them be, in order. They're going to make them all make sense. And so that's what you see here. Now you can obviously see the council here, Ore Council, Oregon, Idaho, that's easy to pick up. And some of these are going to be what we in the hobby call SAPs. So a lot of times, for example, you look at this guy here, this green one, this is more of what we call like a council shoulder strip, right? This is kind of patch that all the scouts in the council would wear. But then you have these other ones that are kind of special issue, like Lewis and Clark Rendezvous Days, like this one for Camp Morrison, another one for Camp Morrison. So these we call SAPs, or special issue patches. And so those are going to have a little more interest for collectors because they were probably made in smaller quantities. Like if you're having a summer camp patch, you're not going to make thousands and thousands of them just for that one summer camp. Maybe you make like 200, 300, 500, but probably not much more than that because you wouldn't want to have them left over for seasons and a lot of long time. Flip it over here, we'll see some more stuff. Now, this one, I'm going to pull it down and show you, make sure my camera catches this. This one here, Boise, Idaho, check this out. Do you guys know what this is? Some of you are going to recognize it with this green and red. All right, give you a second. 2, 3, have you figured it out? This is actually a Girl Scout patch. This belongs to the Girl Scouts. But obviously they had a similar style of uniform, and so they had their own Boise community strip, and those colors match up with the Girl Scout uniform of the 1960s. So fun fact there. You got to keep an eye lookout for those. Here is the Boy Scout version. Of course, it's what we would call a red and white community strip, and that's how you can tell those difference. Ore Council, this is going to be that 1970s issue of the red and white strip. Some people now call them something like block shouldered strips. never have caught on with me to use that phrasing. And then other ones here, again, these are going to be the SAPs, outdoor ethics there. We can keep swapping these out. We're going to see more Orida patches here. Again, going down, whenever you see like a white bordered one and then a silver mylar bordered one, that probably tells you the silver mylar border has got something special going on. This one, 25th anniversary. This one, bicentennial, or the centennial, I should say, there. So flip this over, see what we got. Again, similar here. Again, beautiful patches. This looks a lot like the 1993 Jamboree logo. I'll have to check these out and see. And then this one actually has a little note on the back telling you what's going on with this metallic border as a limited edition. So again, this is kind of a classic collector here who was going through and getting all of these items, trying to be a completist, right? Trying to get everything from his council, everything from his lodge. So here is the lodge, Tukarica Lodge 266. Of course, you can see they have the mountain lion, and then they also had some other ones here, the Jamboree one. That summer in 2001, the Jamboree logo really featured American Eagle, and so they included that on their patches. And then he's got a few more here. Again, this idea of we're going to see front and back. So there's those guys. And then we flip it over and we'll see some, including this interesting one here I'll point out. Never forget our fallen brothers. At the 2001 Jamboree, there was a, so let me get this right now, 2000, no, it would have been 2005. I think 2005 Jamboree, yeah, 2005. That's a little, number is a big difference. There was a whole series of patches that had on there the names of firefighters who were killed in 9/11, who gave it all. And so this was a part of that set. All right. Again, you're going to see things like this where he's got a whole, he's kept the section conclave. He went to this conclave, and then he has the patches in there along with the passport and things like that. So again, a very completist collection. And then here's a similar thing here. Again, there's the passport, and we can see all these patches here, Blue Mountains and different ones there. And again, the WE1 conclave. I'll have to turn this a little sideways so you can see it in Pendleton, Oregon. Beautiful stuff. This is kind of what my collection would look like, basically having the paperwork and the patches together so you can see the whole thing. Then this is similar too. I can pull these out and show you, but he was, this was the neckerchiefs. There's actually 2 neckerchiefs, or is it 3? Good gosh, it's actually 3 neckerchiefs in there for that one event. And then he has all the patches here, and he kept them all together, which again, that really helps me to sort them and to kind of figure out what he's got. But you can see these different border colors. Sometimes for a conclave, there's a specific reason for a border color difference, and then sometimes they just wanted to have something else interesting for the trading post. The next thing I'm going to show you is going to be a whole bunch of OA flaps, so that'll be fun. Let me set this to the side, and we will come back with the OA flaps. All right, now I'm going to flip through what would have been an entire binder of OA flaps that he had. Now they're just loose pages, but they're still in order. Again, going back to what I was saying. So you can see here, Lodge 266. I think what we're going to see is a little bit of mixture of items from his section. And so here's his lodge, Tukarica 266. This was 266 prior to that. There was actually 2 lodges, I believe, that merged together and created his lodge. And so this original Lodge 266, and then this one over here, Lodge 366, Lamonte, Lamoto. Ooh, these Indian names, they get me every time, guys. All right, we'll flip this around again, show this to you. Again, just beautiful, beautiful patches. That's one thing that I always thought, if you look at these patches from Tukarica, they have all kinds of stuff here. Now, I don't know if on the back of these, if he actually has the issue numbers. Let's just peek at one just to see. That would make it so easy on me. He's even got some duplicates back there. Sometimes, nope, sometimes collectors on the back will have a little sticker where they have written the reference number from the blue book, or if it's a really, really old collection, maybe from the old Arapaho. And but again, check this out. Got the ghost black, the ghost white. So all of these, hopefully I'll be able to go on either oaimages.com or possibly patchvault.org and find these and be able to identify the issue numbers, because a collector, what they're going to do, you can kind of see here, he was a checkbox or checklist collector. He was getting, this issue and this issue and this issue, and he does have some duplicates, obviously, but I need to go into the reference books and identify which issues these are, and that'll really help whoever is going to buy these from me eventually to fill their collection, because that's kind of the idea, right? Is that I'm buying this stuff, I'm going to keep some items for my collection, but I need to get these back into the hands of collectors from out west who are trying to put together their collection from these lodges. And again, that's a little unfortunate. If I was him, I would have put those in a different binder. But I'm sure I know what he was doing there. Was these probably, again, it's like, I'm just going to make this up. Let's just say it was like number 67, 68, 69, 70, he was putting them in order, even though the patches didn't quite fit the albums. And so that's a little unfortunate. All right, a couple more pages, and it looks like maybe some of his pages got out of order, but that's okay. Again, for me, I know what I'm going to discover is when I get into this, each page will be very, very similar. And I say out of order because we see these two here from the previous lodge, Lodge 365, and those probably were there before, and then we see some much older ones here from Tukarica. So this could have even been the first page in the album. And then we fast forward ahead, like here's stuff from 2015, 2018. So you can see the collection really has been kept up and is fairly current. A lot of issues from this lodge. They made a lot of patches. They, again, really like the designs, always featuring that mountain lion. My daughter is always a fan of mountain lions. In fact, she's actually at Philmont right now, and the sort of joke in our family is this is her third summer on staff, and so far she hasn't seen, I don't know if they call it a cougar in New Mexico or a mountain lion in person, but she jokingly says she's going to go up and pet it, and of course we're like, no, stay away. So we'll see. But again, just stacking these on top of here, lots and lots and lots of beautiful flaps. I mean, there's probably, I'm not going to say it's a complete collection. That would be maybe going too far because I haven't done my homework, but there are a lot of items here. And then also I love how he has them stacked up. So this makes it so easy on me. If he has 3 duplicates, he just squeezed them in the page. You can see here again, I think he has like 4 of these gold ones, but he's just squeezed them together so they all are together. And that's just perfect for me. I don't know how it fit. The pages are a little beat up because of that, but that's okay. I haven't looked, but you can see this is a really interesting example here of what some lodges will do. So in ghost writing right here, let me pull this down a little bit so you can see. In ghost writing right here, we see the name Tukarica. This is 2015, so the 100th anniversary of the OA. They made what some people would call kind of a historical flap, where everything on the flap looks a lot like the original 365, including the number there. But it's obvious here that it was not, this lodge had already gone out of existence for a long time. But to honor their history, they created a flap. And the same thing happened here. Again, the original Lodge 266, this is the name, not even going to try to pronounce that long Indian name. But they had this replica made, and that was part of their centennial set. So, all right, let's go on to the next binder. All right, one theme that you're going to see as we go through here is that this guy was definitely involved in the Native American regalia and American Indian events part of his lodge, and that was kind of one of his attractions. So I did find a few more pages that were a little bit out of order that are from his lodge. So again, just beautiful, beautiful patches that they made. And then over here, he's got some patches from 2015. So you kind of see, where this collection kind of tops off. Now, he did have this dance team patch. I wanted to show that to you because that's kind of special. Dance teams would have been something a little more rare. He probably was an advisor for the dance team, and so these were patches made for his lodge. And then also this guy here, again, borrowing the old Indian head design, that would have been a really special one for collectors. All right, more flaps from his lodge. Again, I'm assuming that these kind of fit in that same binder, and so we've got these here, including ones from 1989, and then we'll flip it over and see this side as well. Again, similar to the ones we've already seen, and also that stacking where if he had extras, he stacked them up. Here's a couple of more 2-piece sets. This one here with the gold mylar border. These were made for the 2018 NOAC. So again, you can see this collection is very modern. I mean, here I'm recording this in 2026, and we're seeing patches that are just not that old. So this guy was still definitely doing it, the hobby. All right, up next, we're going to see more of these conclave pages. Again, they don't fit quite right on my little camera, but I do have them here. Again, he just put in the patches from the event onto the page, and that's how he had them in a binder. Similar to this, you can kind of see, he's even got ribbons in here and patches, and on back the neckerchief. So that's how he was organizing his collection. More stuff from his lodge. Again, a little easier for me to set these on here sideways. I know that may not be as appealing to the eye, but at least I can let you see the things that were there. And again, I love this idea of capturing the paperwork. Actually, there's a whole lot of paperwork in the collection. I'm not going to be able to show you all that, but the ones that kind of included the patches, I am going to put them down under the camera. But you can see how he kept all of that together for these different events. And they're even labeled, like this one here has Section W1C 2007 Conclave, that where you can see it at the top, and then you have all the patches there, see what's there. And then on this side, got some stuff there as well. All right, see what else we've got. More of the same. Again, look at all those ribbons. Man, lots and lots and lots of ribbons. Pretty cool to see. And then, again, keep showing this here. This bag system of having all the paperwork and all the bags together. All right, now what I'd like to do is show you some of the loose patches that were in the bag. And these are some that are from his area, but then also some that he traded for. So you start off there, you can see there's some event patches from W2B, that's Western Section 2B. And these are patches from his lodge. So he has several here, they're all ghosted in, but I believe these are chapter patches, which is kind of fun because in merged lodges, oftentimes the old lodge footprint becomes a chapter, and sometimes it's even kind of memorialized in the name. So it's kind of cool to see that he has several chapter patches from that area. And then, you can see here that their lodge, again, I'm commented on the designs. They didn't mind playing around with this idea of kind of like ghost patches. And so you see a lot of those in these designs. And just throwing up here ones that are different. He does have a few duplicates, but I'm trying not to put everything up, but just show you the original ones. But these are sort of this diamond shape. I'm not sure what they were doing there. And then this one here is kind of fun. Rest in peace, W2B 2001. And so it says gone north, new direction for the lodge. So that's when their lodge was getting moved to a different section or different alignment. More lodges he traded for example, there's one from New England and New Jersey. Look at this, 3 from South Carolina. How about that? From Atakulakula. Here's one from California, one from Maryland. So these are ones that he was trading for. And then you'd expect there'd be some CSPs. So he does have some CSPs as well, like Great Salt Lake. And then another one of his, Orida there. But then also North Florida. Here's one from California, DuPage area, Circle 10. So like any collector, he's going to be making trades with people. And then let me show you this one too before I go on to some neckerchiefs. Really beautiful W2B. You can see that one right there, conclave. And so it's got all the totems of the lodges in that section. This is going to be fun looking through all these beautiful, beautiful neckerchiefs. Now again, believe me or not, but I mean, when you look at these designs, you're like, man, this is just awesome. And I don't know a whole lot about this lodge. Obviously, I'm way over on the East Coast in North Carolina, and this is way out west. But you can see here all the cool stuff they did, the designs. Again, chapter patches popping up. I mean, it's very, very rare in the Carolinas for there to be a chapter neckerchief. But that's exactly what we're looking at here, which is pretty amazing. Then check at this. Again, these designs. Orida Council NOAC. For the 2006 NOAC. And then we saw some of those diamonds earlier, but there's one on a neckerchief. And then this is more of a camp looking one, or maybe this is just for the council. And then, he was going to national OA conferences. So this is all the way back to 1986. So this guy was in the scouting and they were there for a long, long time. All right, got even more. We'll just keep going. There's so many. I got to pull them out of these pages here. He went to a lot of OA events, and so there's going to be a lot of ones for these conclaves. What's interesting to me is on the neckerchiefs we have different border colors. So there is obviously a 1994 event with a silver mylar border, but hey, wait, there's the same event with a gold mylar border. That's fun stuff. And then again, look at this, chapter neckerchiefs. Look at the name, though. This is something I mentioned earlier before I even had seen this, but I kind of figured this is probably what they did. look at that name. That's the name of the former lodge that merged into to create Lodge 266. And so again, it becomes a chapter name. And then he has other cool stuff like a Capital District neckerchief. Let me move some of these over and keep showing you Philmont Scout Ranch. You guys have seen that before. Then what do you know? Another chapter neckerchief. Oh, man, these guys, they love their memorabilia. Ore Council, really beautiful one there. We already know that their camp was Morrison, but they also had a couple of other camps as well. And I love when you can see a map and kind of see where these things are. Then here's just simply a troop neckerchief. Then check this one out. This is definitely an older one. We saw the flaps earlier. This design was one of the earlier flap designs, and it doesn't look like it has a fleur-de-lis or VSA. So my guess is that's probably going back into the 70s. Here's a better condition one, maybe a little later on, just judged by the composition of the material. Camp Billy Rice, that was one of those camps we just saw. Again, Vigil Honor member. This is so cool. They had Vigil Honor neckerchiefs. Man, golly, just beautiful, beautiful. I mean, if I, it's almost tempting for me as a collector to be like, I could start a Lodge 266 collection since I have a great head start here. But obviously, I don't have any connection to them, so that would not be too smart. This one's in the original wax paper. That's why it sort of looks fuzzy to you. A lot of these neckerchiefs during that time when they came out, they were in this wax paper, which is so cool. And then again, and there's just so much cool stuff here. A dance team neckerchief. What? Are you kidding me? We saw the patch earlier, but they made it on a dance team neckerchief. Now, interesting thing about our hobby, there is the kind of this debate in our hobby about whether we catalog patches or whether we catalog patches on neckerchiefs. And so in the original Blue Book, this patch, if it was sewn on a neckerchief, it would not be considered another issue. We would only catalog it as the patch. Although many of us know that the patch sewn on a neckerchief would have meant something. It would have been maybe you had to do so many events with the dance team or for so many years, or it was some sort of an award or a gift or something on the neckerchief. So it's a little interesting how in Blue Book that kind of changes, but it's interesting to see here. Again, just going through the neckerchiefs. Mountain View Scout Reservation staff, that was another one of the camps that we saw. Tukarica, again, his lodge, they made lots and lots of neckerchiefs, man. They were cranking them out, but it's beautiful, beautiful stuff. And then Conclave, we've seen a lot of Conclave ones, and so this one is from another event. This one was held, I believe, at an Air Force base, Mountain Home Air Force Base. Yeah, sweet. Looks very, very cool. And then again, Tukarica Lodge, another one. This is another dance team one. So we saw the patch earlier, the dance team patch. It's a little hard to read right there, but that actually says dance team. It's just a little folded over. So that's going to be another cool one. So, anybody from that area right about now, they're like, what's Jason's phone number? I need to give this guy a call because I've got some really, really beautiful stuff from their area. Again, this one here, just a beautiful kind of mountain lion design. Got more of these conclave ones here. Another little design from that Mountain Home Air Force Base event. A couple of these could be duplicates. I'm trying to filter them out a little bit, but you guys might have seen this. 1989 at Philmont, they did have an OA event there, or the Aero Philmont Trek, and so he has a neckerchief for that. And then here's an older one, 1976 OA 2B OA Conclave. That's what it would look like back in the day with that MGM. Oh, and check this one out. I don't think I've seen this one here. So it doesn't surprise me that if you're going to have a dance team patch, you would also have a ceremony team patch. So these guys get recognized and have their own patch as well. Of course, again, the neckerchief with the patch sewn on there. We might have seen this one already, but I wanted to put it up, make sure I didn't miss it. And then, oh my gosh, look at this. Okay, so this inside here, we have another chapter neckerchief, but this is a chapter patch for a 1996 fellowship. Good gracious, these people were a little obsessed, man. If a chapter makes a patch for an event, wow. And they've got a really cool rattlesnake design there, as you can see. And then again, another really pretty Lodge 266 pie neckerchief. And man, one more. I don't know if I showed you this one already because he does have some duplicates mixed in, but there's another one. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, keeps going. Let me show you some more stuff. All right, what we're seeing here is some stuff from National OA Conference. This was 1992 in Tennessee. I was there. That was my very first NOAC. And he had a bag here. Now, whether this was the way he had it arranged or whether his friend put him in a bag, I'm not sure. But 1992 NOAC, you can see here the staff patch, the regular patch, and then his lodge patches go into 1988, maybe a little closer for him, Colorado State University, where this one was held, Fort Collins. And again, same thing. That's his lodge patches that he could have traded. And you can imagine that that mountain lion traded pretty well. And there's even a gold border down in there. And then these are the patches for that event. And then this one, I'm not sure I'm going to take this out, but this is another NOAC a little bit later on. All of that stuff from 1998. And again, just all contained in a bag. There's some patches there from his lodge. There are other patches that are like the official patches that they would have traded for the trading post. All right. Next up, let me show you some cool stuff. Man, there's so much cool stuff in this collection, but we'll throw some more great designs up. So show you these patches from his lodge. Again, this would have been for the centennial of BSA. I do not know why they had 3 different border colors of this patch set, but why not? So I have to do a little research there. It's possible, one was for trading and one was for, you had to earn it or something like that. There could be some kind of rhyme or reason to that. But they have this repeated a few times. Check this out. Silver mylar, and then there's a red. These are all lodge jacket patches. Here's a patch that recognizes his council, and we've seen similar ones when we were looking at the council strips. And then again, check out the chapters. Whoa, these chapters have their own jacket patches. Oh my gosh, if people from the Carolinas see this, they might start getting some ideas. Some of these ideas might start to migrate down here, but cool to see with that rattlesnake design. And I also love the idea that the chapters have their own totems. That's pretty cool. I like that idea. In my lodge now, we do not have that. So this might be an idea that kind of spreads. And then again, take a look. Dance team, what? So if you're the advisor of the dance team, of course, you're going to have a dance team jacket patch. And again, they love to have their border colors. So we have these 2 Tukaricas, the silver anniversary, and they have a silver and a gold. Love to see that. Cool, cool stuff. I've already complimented this collection so many times telling you this is from a true collector, but this is a sign that you are dealing with someone who's a really serious collector. When you have album pages and you literally make black and white photocopies of patches that are missing as kind of like holders for you, these are conclave patches for his collection. And so this one, for example, 1962 Sun Valley Council, this is a conclave patch. And then he does have this one. This is area 11D. 1961. Now that one will be going in my collection. I have a collection of all area section meeting patches from 1950 or 52 all the way up until 72. And I have very, very little from that area. I know I don't have this either. I've never seen that one. So that'll be going in my collection. And then again, literally took the time to cut out the shape of the one that he was looking out for, the filler patch. And then he has that beautiful one there. Again, more old ones here. All of these likely going in my collection. You can see right around here, 1971, this is where my collection at least is going to break off because this is still area 11D, so it's region 11, and in region 11 there was an area D, and so starting in 1973, that's when they break it down. They go to just 6 regions in the order of the arrow, and so this is going to go away. There will be no longer an 11. That's kind of where my collection cuts off. I can't really collect everything, but all of these will go in my collection. So great to see. Again, this is how my collection looks. I got them all organized where one after the other, you can see everything. And that's what he was doing here as well, showing you all of these section conclave patches. And of course, those of you who are not familiar with Boy Scouts, let me just tell this real fast. Section conclave would have been where multiple OA lodges would meet together in order to have a weekend fellowship. There'd be a whole schedule of events, would have included Native American stuff, competitions, lots of stuff that would support the program. And then sometimes they would have jacket patches like that, of course. Neckerchiefs, we've already seen similar items before. And then these are more from his section. Look, I think we've seen this design already. Again, there is some duplication in these badges that we're going to see. So he does have some duplicates. And then we mentioned before that this guy was real serious into Native American stuff. And so it doesn't surprise me that he was attending some of these national seminars. This one being in Wyoming, so that might have been a little closer for him. These powwows that the Order of the Arrow was doing. And then one last one, really cool. Check out that picture. These are all people at the 1987 National Powwow. Not sure who this group is, if it's a group from his section or what the thing was, but there's Miss Indian America, who made an appearance at the 1987. Did you know that? And my last one I'll put up is just, again, another random page that came out from his stuff there. Oh my gosh, what a cool collection. So many items that I have never seen before. I tend to get a lot of collections, to be honest, from really where the big population centers were. Think of like Chicago or the Northeast. I rarely get collections from the South. They're just, for whatever reason, maybe there weren't as many scouts back in the day there. And then also from a place kind of like, again, that Region 11. It's not quite California. It's sort of like Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Oregon, sort of Eastern Oregon. Another area that I don't get a lot of collections from. And so this is really the first time I've ever landed a collection from that area. And it was so cool to see. All those items are so new to me. So what I'm going to do now is try to sort them out, kind of consolidate them. The way I like to sort things is I'll take all of those section conclave items and put them by year. So sort of do them, in that order. And then definitely for his Lodge 266 flaps and all the patches, I'll try to organize them as well. Try to merge together all the ones that are duplicates, because he does have some in different little bags and stuff, and try to get them all together. But man, for someone who loves to play with patches, that is a good problem for me to have. So looking forward to this. I'm going to go ahead. We worked out the deal. Everything's good. I'm just going to let the other guy know that I have gone through the boxes and everything checks out good. So we're both kind of like, all right, good. This deal worked out. No one had to drive across the country to deliver it. We just let the U.S. Post Office do that, and everything worked out just fine. Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper. If you have a collection like this, maybe it's yours, and you, like a guy I just heard from today, he went to the 1973 National Jamboree. He found a box of scouting patches up in the attic. He hadn't looked at them in like 50 years, and so he reached out to me to see if I was interested. If that could be you, if you have a collection that's been sitting around not getting much attention, I would love to talk to you, perhaps get it recycled back into scouting. I can make you an offer to buy it, and we will maybe do an unboxing video and show it to the rest of the people and kind of preserve that history. So go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. There you can find all of my contact information. I've got my email there, my phone number. Feel free to text me, send me pictures of your collection, and we can start the conversation. Thanks very much for watching.